Hey, John Sonmez from simpleprogrammer.com. Today I am going to give you a video on the Chrome plugins and apps that I use regularly. So I did a video on how I schedule my week, and that was a pretty popular video. I was asked to do a follow-up video talking about the different plugins that I use and the apps that I use. I thought, hey, that's a pretty good idea. So that's what I'm going to do this time, and I'm actually recording this the second time because I just learned a really important lesson, which is that when you're recording something with Camtasia and you open up Audacity, it tends to steal the microphone and silence you in Camtasia. I had recorded this whole thing and then went back to edit it and found as soon as I went to the Audacity part that I had lost everything else audio-wise. So I will not do that this time. Let's get right into it. So the first tool that I'm going to show you that I use, I started using this recently, is called Workflowy. I love this tool. It's such a just simple way to manage lists, and it's like a very feature-rich, I guess, to-do list application that lets you basically make lists, indented lists of things, and you can kind of drill into things in the list, which is pretty cool. And then you can add notes and stuff, and you can just keep on going down as far as you want. You can star things, you can mark things as done, like I'm going to do with Workflowy since we're covering that here. And there's just a whole bunch of functionality. You can see all the shortcuts and things that you can do here. You can tag things. You can even share them with other people to share your list. It's a pretty cool app. I'm really liking it. It's just a way to simplify where I had everything else, and I use this as my central place to organize kind of big projects, any kind of list of things that I want to do. I try to make sure that everything is sort of in there. I use, of course, Kanban flow as well to schedule my week, but I have usually like lists of different types of things inside of Workflowy. So those are my two primary apps. Now let me go through these Chrome plugins here. So I'm just going to go through these pretty quickly. Basically, just starting from the top here, Assistant 2, this is a scheduling thing for Gmail. So, when you get those emails and you go back and forth and you're like, hey, could you do Tuesday at 2:30? No, I can't do that. How about Wednesday at 5 o'clock? And you go back and forth. Well, this thing just basically puts this little thing in your Gmail that makes it super easy to send someone a meeting request. And you can give them like 5 different times. You just go into your calendar. It lets you select like a bunch of different times. It embeds it into the email. They can just click one button and then they're scheduled, and it schedules it on your calendar. It makes it super easy so you don't have to go back and forth. Boomerang for Gmail. I also love this for Gmail because you know how you get a message, right? And then you reply to it, and you put a thing in your calendar to say, okay, if I don't hear back from them in 2 weeks, I need to follow up because you need to make sure that this thing gets done, right? Well, this basically allows you to do that automatically. It will give you the option to boomerang and message back to your inbox in like 2 days, a week, depending on if someone replies or not. All kinds of cool features in there. I use that quite a bit for following up, and then it gets stuff out of my inbox so I can get to inbox 0. Buffer, this is a really cool app. You can see I've got the Buffer icon here. If you just go to Buffer, it's basically allows you to manage and schedule your social media. So I've got like all my accounts connected here, and then I can just post content in here and then share it on the different sites. And I usually do this once a week, just queue up a bunch of content so I'm sending stuff out. And you can click this Buffer button, and it'll basically let you, share whatever page you're at, which is pretty neat. I like that a lot. Ghostery, this is something new I started using. It's a privacy protection thing. If you go to a website, it'll show you what's being tracked on there. A little ghostery thing pops up, and you can see, and you can disable certain things. So if you don't like, whatever's being tracked, I'm just disabling a bunch of stuff on here because it makes the web faster. Because it doesn't load up all this stuff. I don't really care so much about the privacy part, but I found that to be pretty useful. Again, I just started using that one. And then Google Cast, I use this for Chromecast occasionally. I don't really use it that much. Google Docs, I'm a big Google Docs user. I just love the real-time collaboration, and it's just such a simple tool to use, so I use Google Docs for a lot of stuff. This Hello sign for Gmail, this is really cool because It allows you to sign a document. So, if someone emails you a PDF, right? And then you've got to sign that. Well, the old way is print it out, sign it, scan it back in, email it back to them. With this, and I also use DocuSign, which is something similar, it allows you to basically just insert your signature and e-sign it, which is pretty neat. It saves a lot of time. And I haven't really gotten any complaints from people that when I do this, again, DocuSign also I use sometimes. They each give you a certain number of free ones to do. Clout, this is pretty useful to be able to see someone's Clout score in Twitter, just because it helps you to know how to interact with them and if you're being trolled or not, and just it's useful to know how you're being measured too. So I know Clout is not the most popular thing. Some people frown upon it, but hey, it's reality. So I use it to stay in touch with reality. This password manager, I really like this. I don't know how I can live without this tool because I use it to manage all my passwords. I also put my credit card data in there to autofill it. It's a really, really slick, really useful tool. So I don't have the same passwords on multiple sites. In fact, I don't know my passwords. They're randomly generated and they're strong. This neat bookmarks. I love this little thing. If you hit star, right, then you're searching your bookmarks, which is pretty cool. So like if I look for Pluralsight, or I guess premium WordPress themes is what I had. I had Theme Forest as a bookmark here. So really cool. I really like that for searching through my bookmarks, and you can click the icon here and do a search there if you want as well. But you just hit star and then space and then start typing, which is really quite useful. This Open SEO stats. This is pretty cool. You can see my page rank is 4 for Google here, and then you can see the stats for sites. I use this when I go to different blogs and stuff, especially if someone says, "Hey, can you link to me, or wants to do some kind of thing with my blog?" I want to make sure that they, how they're ranking and see where their stuff is coming from, and I can kind of investigate about that. So that's a real quick way to do that. This Page Analytics by Google. You might have already seen this. This real-time shows you on a particular page on your domain, the information about it for the different sessions. So it gives you kind of Google Analytics real quickly, and you can see what percentage people are clicking on different things. So that's very useful, I think. So I'm really liking that. Obviously, this is how I plan my week is pretty popular with 9.4% people clicking there. So it's a really useful tool. Then let's see what else we've got here. Reportive used to be really useful, I think, until LinkedIn bought it. And then it used to show you in Gmail, like for an email address, all the social networks that they belong to, and their names on them and all kinds of information about them. But now I think it just shows them LinkedIn profiles, so not quite as useful anymore. REST console, I use this for debugging REST APIs. I found that this was the best one. There might be a better one out there, but this did everything I needed. Send from Gmail, just to make Gmail be the default compose. Share as image. This is pretty cool. So let's say I want to share this image, right? I can click the share as image plugin, and then I can get this image. I can actually put like text on here, right? So I can make a nice little thing and then share my blog posts that way. I use this for sharing quotes and stuff like that. I've got the pro account, which I got some deal from I think Sumo, from AppSumo, but it's probably worth doing the upgrade. Even the free is pretty neat. It just puts a little watermark in there, I think, and you have a few less features. Then we've got the workflow, which we already covered. So that's it for my Chrome. And then let's go through the rest of this list here. Try not to make this take too long. Kanban flow we already covered. I still use Trello a little bit. If you haven't seen Trello, it's basically similar to Kanban flow. You have all these boards, and you can, move stuff around and add different lists and stuff. But I'm mostly migrating the work that I do in here to Workflowy now. I find that I really just need a simple to-do list in many cases, and that just simplifies things rather than having multiple boards. But Trello is still good for coordinating with other people and workflows. Kanban flow works as well, but this Softy Scan to PDF, I love this little app. I bought this a long time ago from this small company that sells this software. But what it does is it lets you scan from your scanner. I've got this Neat Receipts ADF scanner, which I highly recommend having some kind of ADF scanner. I guess there's There's a Fuji Snap scanner, Evernote branded one that I'd like to upgrade to, but this thing works pretty dang well. I've had it for, I don't know, maybe 7 years or so, and it still works great. But basically, the reason why I like the software is because it scans the PDF, but it does it in such a way that the PDF is very compressed. So I had problems with a lot of other software trying to scan a PDF, trying to mail big real estate documents to people, and it's like a huge file. So this actually does a very good job of compressing it. I don't know why it works so good. It's still super visible. Lets me use my own scanner dialog, which works great with the neat receipt stuff. I use this actually in conjunction with Evernote. I probably don't need to explain what Evernote is to you, but Evernote, I basically scan all my documents into Evernote, so I don't have any physical documents. I do not keep file cabinets. I just scan everything in there, which is pretty cool. And since if you upgrade Evernote to the Pro version, you get searchable PDFs. So all these PDFs that I scan, I've basically got it set up so that there's an auto pickup in Evernote. So when I scan, I just save to a certain folder. Evernote automatically picks up the document and puts it in an inbox where I can sort and tag it. So everything, my whole life, I can search for in Evernote, which is pretty cool. Camtasia, I'm using Camtasia right now. You should be able to see that I'm recording this using Camtasia. It's a screen capture software. It's really probably the best. I mean, it has to be the best one for Windows. It's really good on Mac as well, and it allows just great editing for audio and video. In fact, I just edit regular audio and video with it a lot of times, not even screencasts, like a lot of the YouTube videos. In fact, when I create YouTube videos and I just shoot with my digital camera, I actually use Camtasia's editor to do the editing because it works really well. So that's what I use for this type of thing. Audacity, I'm not going to bring this up this time, but Audacity is a free sort of Adobe Audition, I believe is the audio version. It's very robust. I can get the same functionality in Camtasia, or close to the same functionality in Camtasia, but Audacity's has a little bit more functionality around noise removal and a bunch of things. You can really do all kinds of crazy audio editing stuff. Takes a little bit to learn, but I use that all the time for editing podcasts and for making podcasts. MP3 tag. This is a pretty cool tool. I'll just bring it up real quick. I need a MP3, so let me go into my Dropbox podcast. We'll go into here, and then if I right-click and go to MP3 tag, I can basically edit the tags on the MP3, which is important for podcasts, and I can copy and paste them, which makes it really quick to do this. Otherwise, this becomes a long manual process. So I like that. And then I've got Tweet Adder here. This is somewhat controversial, but I don't really hold anything back or hide anything, so I will show you. I use this for basically following and unfollowing people on Twitter. Not for a vanity type of thing. It's not really pump up my ego to have a lot of followers on Twitter, but it's a good marketing thing. As a business, as someone who needs to promote their contact, who makes a living off of the content that they create, it's useful to have a lot of followers on Twitter that are interested in your stuff. So I'll usually follow followers of someone who's related to what I do, and then I'll unfollow people who don't follow me back, so I can keep that ratio in gear. And yeah, it helps me to grow. I just do this every single day, and a really useful tool for doing that. It's not an automated tool. You have to manually click it so it doesn't violate the terms of Twitter API or whatnot. It's still in the gray area, I guess, but hey, it definitely is useful. Display Fusion, I'm running this right now. If you've noticed this 1.1 that shows up, it's because I've logically divided my monitor. So I've got two 4K monitors, and I've logically divided them into 4 monitors each. So I've got 8 total, logical monitors that I can snap things to. Very useful. Tons of other stuff in there. It's just a great monitor management, multi-monitor management. Wallpapers on different screens, change the start menu, all kinds of functionality that the developer added in there. That's just a great piece of software. Dropbox. I'm currently using Dropbox for my entire backup. I was using CrashPlan. I love the service, but I just don't need it anymore because I got down to, Dropbox gives you a terabyte for the Pro version now, and I can just put all my stuff in there so I don't have to worry. It works as a redundancy for me. I've also got a Synology drive coming that I'm going to be setting up with another level of redundancy. It integrates with Dropbox. So that's going to make things easier. I use selective sync, so I don't have all my whole things syncing to my MacBook and everything. I just selectively sync certain folders. I use this WIP folder for my work in progress, and then my simple programmer folder, or whatever folders that I actually need, and that works out really well. So I'm pretty happy with that. And then there's a lot of screen sharing, not screen sharing, screen capture software out there to do screenshots. But I like this Share X. It's got a ton of stuff in it. It's real simple to use, and then it's got all these like after capture tasks and after upload tasks. So you can basically take a screenshot and control the flow. You can edit it after you take it, and then automatically have it go up to an image like Imager site, and then you can have it be in the buffer. You can have the file name be in the buffer. There's all kinds of functionality and settings for this. It's really cool. So yeah, it pretty much does everything that you might need to do with screenshots. All right, that's my list. This is a little bit long of a video, but I wanted to go through all the tools here. There's probably a few more tools out there, but that's my primary thing. Of course, I use tools like Skype and Visual Studio for editing, but for programming. But that's pretty much the majority of what I utilize. If there's something that I missed here, let me know, like a tool that you think would be useful for me in the kind of workflow that I did, or something better than what I'm using. I'm definitely interested in that. I try to streamline things down and to use the best tools as possible, but there's always things that I miss out there. So hopefully you like this video. If you want more videos like this, just let me know, and feel free to leave a comment or whatever and request a particular topic. But yeah, that's it. Subscribe if you'd like to get more of these videos. Take care.